med Crash Bandicoot avklarat på riktigt denna gång, så kan vi börja spela något annat. Och idag så blir det Stanley Parable, eller The Stanley Parable kanske heter. Ultra Deluxe dessutom, så det här är den remastern eller remaken eller vad det är som kom för, ja, inte så länge sedan i alla fall. Eller så är det hyfsat länge. Vet det fan. Vi får se vad det här är för någonting, för jag kan säga att jag har hört mycket om spelet. Men jag har aldrig spelat det. Så det blir en överraskning för mig. Kanske inte för er om ni vet vad som händer, men spoila inget då!
Hejsan! Nu kollar jag dubbelt så att jag har en mix med igång också. Det var ju bra. Skulle jag ha gjort igår. Det gjorde jag ju inte, och så gick det som det gick också. Ja! Nu kan vi faktiskt lämna Crash Bandicoot bakom oss. På riktigt, för en gångs skull. Kunde vi ju inte göra, visade det sig tidigare. Men hela den här storyn har jag redan berättat för. Ja, när det var annars hänt idag. Jag har haft en gammaldags skoldag. Så jag har haft massa barn som har besökt folkskolan i gamla Linköping. Och jag har fått ha lektion med dem och visa liksom hur skolan kunde vara förr. Sen har jag fått mota bort turister. Eftersom att skolan var ju liksom bara öppen för eleverna som jag hade hand om. Det var ju inte allmänt öppet. Och det var väldigt svårt att förklara för folk som varken pratar svenska eller engelska. För det är de språken jag kan. Så ett par som liksom försökte gå in var så här bara no! Och så slog jag igen dörren och haspade för. Jag visste inte hur jag skulle göra för att de inte fattade. Det var lite irriterande. Det var det. Och det var något par som gick in precis när jag skulle släppa ut den första gänget med barn ut ur skolan liksom. Då var det ett par som inte heller kunde svenska såklart, men som faktiskt förstod engelska. Och det är liksom förklarat att det är specialöppet för att den här skolklassen ska besöka. Och inte öppet för allmänheten. Och så frågar han, is it open on request? Och man bara, inte riktigt. Alltså, det enda är väl om du betalar för en bokad visning så kan du få open on request. Men när du inte har högsäsong, då kan du inte få det liksom. Jag sa i princip, om en månad, då är det öppet. Men då kan det komma det lite när som helst under dagen. Men det är ett tag dit. Men barnen, de skötte sig bra. Mycket pratiga var de ju, men det blir bättre sen. För det är en sak som är verkligen liksom då i skolan förr var ju liksom, de upplever ju en gammaldags skoldag. Och det inkluderade, vi slår inte barnen även om det var gammaldags skoldag, men det inkluderade det här med tyst i klassen och allt sånt. Och att liksom räcka upp handen och ställ dig upp när du ska svara och så. Mm. Så kan det vara. Ja, och sen har vi varit och repat lite inför Petson och Findus som vi har premiär på om 11 dagar. Så det närmar sig också. Men nu tycker jag att det närmar sig vi ska spela. Så nu byter vi. Så. Det ska bli intressant. Jag har ju aldrig spelat det här spelet. Jag har ju hört talas om det. Men inte spelat. Nej. Det ger jag fan i. Ja, vad fan är klockan? Kan ni inte läsa av det, tycker jag? Borde kunna läsa av det på datorn, eller på PS4 menar jag. Okej. Det här var ju schysst att de visar hur stor texten kommer vara. The end is never the end is never this.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Kunde inte låta bli att bara göra något där för att se vad som händer. Nu är vi tillbaka till början.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Nu gör vi som den säger istället. En liten stund i alla fall.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So he imagined himself flying, and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Okay.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Jaha. Då börjar vi om igen då.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okej, nu är vi så här med skådespel. Vi ser vad som händer om jag följer instruktionerna.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nej.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret?
Bara hämta lite glass. Blir jag sugen på.
Was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okej, det var stopp här. Nu blir det ljust.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Oj, jävlar.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Fan, där
Did he
påminner
have
mig
the
om det
strength
rummet
to find
i...
out?
Vad heter den? The Incredibles. Där när han kommer in i det där rummet. Hemliga rummet hos Syndrome, som han sen blir attackerad av de här svarta klistriga bollarna.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Vart har vi Stanleys nummer då? Var det typ 427 eller vad var det? Jag tror det där. Ja, där är Stanleys rum. $600.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
En till som siffra. Fem, då måste det finnas en 4 innan den någonstans. Det var 1, 2, 3 och 5. Var kan då nummer 4 vara? Så jävla mörkt också.
at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Stanley Parable.
And Stanley was happy.
Ja, har vi klarat spelet. Jag har fått 2 trophies i alla fall. Men jävlar. Ja, det är ju torsdag idag, men okej. Jaha. Ja, där har du redan. Spelning på 10 år. Quit the game and then start it again. Klicka på dörr. Klicka på dörr 430. 5 gånger. Det är sånt jag kan göra. Vi ser om det här räknas som quit the game and start it again. Just det, vad är 21? 9. Jaha, det var meningen. Ja, det var intressant. Det var alltså en del av upplevelsen det där. Hallå! Hej Ferron!
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Jag har precis fått beröm av spelet för att jag ställde in tiden på spelet.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the trophy? Click a door 5 times? Is that all you think a trophy is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks? Now, suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this trophy to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way no matter the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417? Great. Now, go click a few times on door 437. Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so. Now, back to door number 437.
Alltså, det här var ju lite mer komplicerat än vad trofén sa. Man säger så.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes! This is great! You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine, do that one again!
Det var inte det här rummet.
Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today.
Ja, jag fick ju trofén för att klicka på dörren 5
When Stanley
gånger.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Oj,
entered the
bara det
door
att
on
jag
his
valde.
left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Det var ju bara att
Perhaps he wanted to stop
jag
by the
behövde klicka på
employee
massa
lounge
grejer
first,
innan
just to admire
jag till
it.
slut kunde få klicka 5 gånger på rum 430.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Ja, det var ända till.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Är det den dörren där?
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Ja.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
Jaha du.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story. I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Men vad fan.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart. All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that? No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Ja, det är så här churrosglass.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Jävlar vad det där höjde stämningen nu. Ja, det här undrar jag också. Så jävla många frågetecken som bildar frågetecken. Jag undrar också att han... Ja, James Bonds rum. Så det är bara lite random slalom här. What the fuck? Ser ni? Fan vad sjukt. Det är ihop väldigt konstigt.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. Tänk om jag vill det då? Miss everything. Det får inte du.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Hopp. Det här är förvirrande.
No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us?
Det är
After we trusted you,
churros-bitar i.
after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Jag måste se om att den där rösten inte tycker om mig. Ja, jag är slut. får gå och blanda upp lite extra. Ja, det är diaglass eller triumfglass som gör det. Jag kommer inte ihåg exakt. Just nu.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Ja, du.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Den försvann.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Ta med den tillbaka hit. Ja. Det gjorde jag. Jag tog med mig muggen ut i köket. Vad fan då för? Nu har jag ju blandat upp ny saft. Mera saft, hallonsaft. Bättre saft har ingen haft.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Ja, nu startar spelet upp igen då.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on it. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nej.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Sweetie, sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right now.
Jo, men
I
det
want
gick
you to
helt
come in
okej.
and tell me all about your day.
Lite dåligt tålamod som vanligt.
Gotcha.
Men annars
Oh,
gick det bra.
come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here,
På sätt och
Stanley.
vis ja,
I'm
för jag
trying to get you
slog
to see
riset i
something.
bänken.
Come inside. Let me show you what's really
Inte
going
på
on
dem, men
here.
bredvid dem. Så då fick de höra smällen av det. Men sen var det
This is a
intressant.
very
De
sad
får ju
story about the
sudda med
death of a
hartass
man
då.
named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes
Ja,
is a
de
reminder
får
of the
sudda med hartass på
inconsequential nature of his
griffeltavla.
existence.
Och då så frågade någon, är det en riktig hare? Då är det från en riktig hare? Då säger jag, ja, det stämmer. Och sen så sa jag det högt till alla bara, ja, som jag sa här till, vi säger att Beda hette den frågan. Som Beda frågade här, ja, det är så att det här är från en riktig hare. Säger jag högt och tydligt. Efter jag sagt det, då får jag samma fråga 5 gånger. Bara, är det riktig hare? Ja. Han bara, det sa jag nyss högt när alla lyssnade. Och så dröjer det några minuter till. Är det från en riktig hare? Man bara, ja. Jag sa det väldigt högt och tydligt att det är från en riktig hare.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
What?
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Jag är för trött för det här alltså. Min hjärna är just nu inte med. Och det här är rörigt. Här. Jag vet att jag behöver göra en sån här igen. Har jag inte förut. Men jag är så jäkligt trött just nu. Så det här spelet är bara förvirrande. Även om det är lite spännande och så. Jag är bara så himla slut just nu. Jag ber om ursäkt för att det blev bara en timme idag. Men jag orkar inte mer just nu. Jag har svårt att hålla mig vaken nästan. Så jag tror jag måste göra mig i ordning och gå och lägga mig. Ska upp och jobba imorgon vid 8:30. Alltså jag ska vara där och stå 30. Då blir det att jag vaknar 7:30. Men ja. Det blev tyvärr en kort stream idag. Så får vi spela det här ordentligt på söndag. Då jag förhoppningsvis har lite mer energi. Kommer inte bli någon diska torsdag på torsdag. För jag har intensivrepsperiod nu inför Petson-premiären. Så att ja. Då blir nästa stream på fredag då. Får se om vi lyckas lösa det här med Oddworld. Jag kan spela det. Men tills dess får ni göra det så bra. Jag ber om ursäkt än en gång för att det blev så här tidigt. Men jag orkar inte med just nu. Så därför så är det bättre att jag slutar än att jag råkar somna framför datorn. För det känns nästan som att det är dit jag är på väg just nu. Sömnmässigt faktiskt. På grund av att jag är så trött. Ja. Det är där vi slutar för ikväll. Så gör vi ett nytt försök på söndag. Till dess får ni ha det så bra. Och så får vi ses en annan stream när jag är lite piggare. Ajöken.